Hello everybody, I'm Andrew. I'm on Jaroks' Minecraft world. We were doing a stream together. He had to step away, but I'm going to read some of the Minecraft cookbook. I have a cookbook called Minecraft Gather, Cook, Eat. And then so you have the initial starting pages, and you have the table of contents. We have the flour forest greens, we have inventory bread, we have roasted crops, we have baked potato bites, we have hoglins and lava, we have baked bread, dragon's breath, smelted nuggets, mushroom field steak, noodle caves, plains kebabs, chicken jockey sandwich, warped forest flatbread pizza, buried treasure pie, delicious fish, suspicious stew, mushroom burger, husk tamale, redstone dust rub, smoker brisket. Let me check the stream so I can still see chat. Give me a moment. So we've got husk tamales, redstone dust rub, and smoker brisket, farmland smorger stada, and creeper cleanse. Oh, these are drinks. Creeper cleanse, potion of night vision, survive the night soda pop, slime ball tea, potion of the turtle master, TNT, chorus fruit spritzer. We have lots of desserts. We have nether portal rolls, marshmallow clouds, torch shooters, packed mud brownies, blocks of clay fudge, glazed terracotta cookies, honey block, sheep's wool, golden apple pie, the cake, 2-bite pumpkin pies, cocoa chunk cookies, magma cream truffles, fireworks star cookies, blocks of redstone brownies, breakable dirt blocks, and then some meal planning with the explorer's picnic, nature's lunch break, builder's brunch, fighter's feast, and inventor's brainstorm. So we're going to go to the next page. We have fighter recipes, which recall battles fought and victories won. We have nurturer recipes, which provide extra nutrition or the satisfying feeling of comfort food, or both. We have builder recipes to celebrate the architect in all of us. We have explorer recipes that evoke the great outdoors and journeys far and wide. We have inventor recipes, and they are as complex and exciting as genius redstone contraptions. We have advancement hunter recipes. They make you feel like you've accomplished a Minecraft advancement in the world. The world is full of friends and food. If you've played Minecraft Java Edition, you've likely seen the phrase associated with the husbandry achievement. And really, is there a better motto to live by if you too see the world through the lens of friends and food? If you're always looking for an excuse to throw a party or try a new recipe, if you've ever asked yourself, how can I make this edible when playing Minecraft, then this book is for you. It's an ode to the game we all love, with recipes inspired by the biomes, the mobs, and yes, the food. Just like there are many ways to play Minecraft, there are many ways to explore this cookbook. The recipes in these pages are grouped by familiar meal types, appetizers, snacks, entrees, desserts, and drinks. Each is also categorized by the player type that inspired the recipe. Along with ingredients and instructions, you'll find dietary notes such as vegan or gluten-free designations. As in a Minecraft session, you can search relentlessly for something specific that you need, or start from the beginning and explore linearly to see what you might find along the way. You can go into creative mode and use the ideas in this book to build unique creations of your own, or you can cook in survival mode, meaning you need to get some food on the table before your hunger points drop to 0. No matter how you come at these recipes, I encourage you to make this book your own. Substitute your favorite fruits, veggies, and proteins. Halve or double the ingredient amount. Jot down notes and map out your meal plan. Triple the garlic. I wrote in cookbooks, I meaning the author, and I meaning the author still do this. And why not try to recreate your edible masterpieces in game? Keep creating. Tara Theo Harris. P.S. Think you can get a balanced diet achievement for this book. I'd love to hear from you if you try every single recipe. So we've got some measurement conversions, we're not going to read that, some dietary considerations, we've got kitchen tools for different recipes that'll ask you to have things like a box grater or a colander or dry measuring cups, a frying pan, an immersion blender, a ladle, a liquid measuring cup, measuring spoons, mini chopper, which could be the slap chop, a rolling pin, a rubber spatula, a saucepan with lid, another spatula, a stand mixer, especially for those cookies, a whisk, and a diamond sword. We have kitchen survival tips. Let me know if you want to read those or not, but we have cutting in butter, double broiler, folding, gather inventory, mixer, punching down, separating eggs, thermometers. So I'll start with kitchen survival tips. To make your cooking adventures extra successful, here are some tips, tricks, and key terms that will help you build up your kitchen skills. For cutting the butter, put down the sword. It's not that kind of cutting. When instructed to cut butter into flour, you're being asked to add small chunks of cold butter to a flour mixture. Then use a pastry blender or your hands to grind that butter into the flour, mixing it up until it's all uniform and fairly coarse. When using your hands for this, I recommend you grab and pinch the flour. I being, what was her name? It was Tara Theoris. Tara recommends you grab and pinch the flour and butter chunks together, rubbing the butter between your fingers to spread it throughout the flour. Keep grabbing and pinching handfuls of butter and flour until it all comes together. For double broiler, it says a double broiler consists of 2 stacked pots or a pot with a metal bowl on top. The bottom pot has about an inch of water in it, and the second pot or bowl fits on top, but shouldn't be able to touch the water under it. When put under heat, the water in the lower section boils, and the steam rises to warm the upper section. This allows you to heat chocolate and other sensitive ingredients without risk of scorching them. If you don't have access to a double boiler or something similar, you can use a microwave oven instead. Microwave the ingredients for 30 seconds, stir, and continue to microwave, and stir at a 15-second interval until the ingredients have melted. For folding, this is a way to gently mix fragile ingredients or anything that shouldn't be stirred too vigorously. When instructed, tell you fold in, simply place the ingredient in the mixture and slowly move the mixture over the ingredient as if you're folding an omelet. I make lots of cheese omelets, they're very good. Jaroks is probably going to get some Phantoms at some point because it's been at least 2 nights by now, just by looking at day and night. Continue a few more times until it's mixed. Gather your inventory. It's easier to build something when you have everything you need in your inventory, and cooking is the same way. Before you start, read through the full recipe, noting the steps involved and the length of time the recipe takes. Are there any unusual ingredients you need to hunt for or special tools that you're not familiar with? Prep everything ahead of time. Some ingredients need to be at room temperature. For example, others may need to be diced or chopped before you begin. With a mixer, if you plan on doing a lot of baking or mixing, an electric stand mixer is highly recommended. Many of the recipes here call for you using a mixer, but if you don't have one, you can always mix by hand. Expect this to take longer. It's like mixing with your hands instead of a newly crafted pickaxe. But on the plus side, you'll get the added perk of developing incredibly buff arms. If you're in the market for a mixer, I recommend getting a standard mixer attachment, a whisk attachment, and a dough hook attachment along with it. Then there's punching down. Put all of that in-game punching practice to good use. To punch down dough means to place it on a floured surface after letting it rise and give a couple of gentle punches, or very light kneads, like a cat would do. Jaroks has a kitty cat. To compress it, afterward, turn the dough over and shape it according to the instructions. For separating eggs, egg throwing, like in a how-to basic video, is best left to the game, but egg separating is required for some recipes. You're not separating one egg from the other. Rather, the term means you need to separate the egg yolk from the egg white. There is a yellow part of the egg and a clear part of the egg. I think the dark yellow part is the yolk, but I also saw a YouTube short where chickens in different countries are fed different things. So you might have a chicken with green or red or brown yolk depending on its diet. I don't remember what it was that was fed, but I just know that was part of it. Here's how to separate the egg. Over a bowl, carefully crack an egg in the middle, separating the crack at the top. As you open the egg, tilt the yolk back and forth from one half of the shell to the other, letting the egg white pour through the bottom of the crack into the bowl below. Continue until only the yolk is left in the shell, then pour that into a separate bowl. For thermometers, a few recipes will require you to keep an eye out on temperature. This is incredibly important for candy making, like the marshmallow clouds, sheep's wool, and honey block recipes, and is helpful for cooking various cuts of meat. You'll want to add separate candy thermometers and meat thermometers to your kitchen inventory. Both are fairly inexpensive and easy to find. Now we can go to reading actual recipes. We've got appetizers and snacks with flour forest greens, inventory bread, roasted crops, baked potato bites, hoglins and lava, baked bread, dragon's breath, and smelted nuggets. So let's see, I think Jaroks might be back. For flour forest greens, next time you explore a flower forest, imagine what it would be like to stop and smell those flowers and then pick them for use in a delicious salad. This light and colorful recipe uses honey, another staple of the flower forest, to create a daylight vinaigrette. And this is an easy recipe. You need honey, Dijon mustard, olive oil, lemon juice, a dash of salt and pepper, spring mix, radishes. We actually grew radishes in our garden in the spring and they're very good. You need a Honeycrisp apple, those are good, some walnuts, some Parmesan cheese, ooh, that smells nice, and some edible flowers. To make the honey vinaigrette, place the honey, mustard, olive oil, lemon juice, and salt and pepper in a small bowl. Whisk together for 20 seconds or until emulsified. Set aside. Place the spring mix, radishes, apple, walnuts, Parmesan, and the petals from half of your edible flowers in a large bowl. Add the honey vinaigrette and toss until evenly coated. Garnish with additional edible flowers and serve. Ooh, there's an explorer's note, which is kind of like a, if you're reading a book, there's I'm trying to think of the name. There's a footnote, like for a citation. But for the explorer's note is, although edible flowers may be found in your grocery store, you can also pick your own. Just be sure that the flowers you select are pesticide free and that they're not part of some villager's garden. Give the flowers a quick rinse in cool water, then place them on a paper towel to dry before using. Try some of these flavorful options. You can use carnations, chrysanthemums, dandelions, daisies, geraniums, honeysuckle, ooh, those smell nice, jasmine, like jasmine tea, lavender, I grew a lavender but killed it because I gave it too much fertilizer, lilac, marigold, we grew those in some pots, pansies, we get those in the winter, clover, rose, those have thorns, so be careful, and sunflowers, and you can make sunflower seeds with those too. The next recipe is inventory bread. It's a really pretty picture because it's bread, it's like 10 or 12 different breads with a bunch of different variations. Whether you're building a simple shack or a multi-level mansion, it's smart to have a large inventory of blocks on hand. You don't want to be far from home digging out more blocks when the sun sets. This recipe takes the concept of monkey bread, a delicious pull-apart dish, perfect for parties, and turns into a colorful collection of edible Minecraft blocks, a reminder of the great things we craft from humble components. Pick your favorite types of blocks from the corresponding options and mix them together however you want. Build a creative mode style structure, arrange them into a neat pattern, or pile them all together for guests to enjoy. This is a normal difficulty recipe, so it's a little bit more difficult than the other one. Because the other one was just flowers. This one you need dry yeast, warm water, all-purpose flour, salted butter and melted, kosher salt, some other butter, and some assorted toppings. The directions are: combine the yeast and a quarter cup of warm water in the bowl of a stand mixer fitted with the dough hook. Let stand 10 minutes or until foamy. Add the rest of the water, flour, butter, and kosher salt to the bowl. Mix with the dough hook attachment. Slowly at first, then on medium speed. Once the flour is incorporated, mix for 5 minutes or until a sticky dough forms. If you don't have a mixer, mix the dough together by hand. Then knead it on a floured surface for 5 minutes. Move the dough into a large oiled bowl and cover with a damp towel. Let it sit in a warm location for 1 hour or until the dough has doubled in size. We do that. One of my mom's friends actually gave her some sourdough bread mix, and we'll make some homemade bread. She'll feed it potato flakes, and then you make the dough and keep it in the microwave or the oven turned off. And then you divide it into 3 sections. She'll make cinnamon bread and rosemary bread and some plain bread. And then we'll bake it and have some French toast. While waiting for the dough to rise, prep your ingredients. Put each block seasonings mix on its own flat plate. And the next page, it continues this recipe. Step 5. Transfer the dough to a floured surface. Punch it down, and using a sharp knife or a pizza cutter, divide the dough into 32 separate cubes. Dip each cube into melted butter, with the exception of the lava and moss stone variations. Then roll in the seasonings of choice to create whatever block types you want. Place each cube in a greased 8x8 inch square pan so they're lightly stacked on top of each other. Cover the pan with plastic wrap and let rise for 30 minutes or until doubled in size. While waiting for the dough to rise, preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Once risen, place the pan in the oven for 30 minutes or until the bread is golden brown. Remove the pan from the oven and let it cool for 5 minutes. Step 9 is take a spatula or butter knife and run it along the edges to loosen the bread and remove. Serve with the top side up. The individual cubes will be stuck together into a larger block but can be pulled apart evenly. And then we have a footnote or builder's note. Use the following seasonings to make some of your favorite Minecraft blocks. To make your birch wood plank, use shredded mozzarella cheese. To make coal ore, use poppy seeds. To make glowstone, use minced garlic. To make a grass block, use rosemary. We have a rosemary plant in our garden. It smells really nice. I tell people to use rosemary when they're cooking fish, and they end up not using rosemary. And I say, I told you so about it. To make lava blocks, use marinara sauce, but don't roll these cubes in butter first. Just dip them in marinara. To make mossy cobblestone, use pesto, but don't roll these cubes in butter first. Just dip them in pesto. To make oakwood planks, use shredded or cheddar cheese. To make sand, use paprika. To make normal sand, Anakin doesn't like sand from Star Wars because it's coarse, rough, and irritating. Use sesame seeds. To make wool blocks, use grated Parmesan cheese. Ooh, the next recipe, I've actually done this before, but it's called roasted crops. After a long day tending to your garden, what could be more satisfying than sitting in your home for a delightful meal of roasted crops? Garden herbs add complexity to the carrots and beets in this recipe, and some honey from your hard-working bees, or the supermarket, which here we call it a grocery store. It enhances their natural sweetnesses. Now, I use this recipe with some broccoli, but they want you to use beets and carrot. And this is an easy recipe. What you use is beets, carrots, or broccoli, olive oil, kosher salt, black pepper, dried rosemary, dried thyme, melted butter, and honey. It's getting to be nighttime again on Jaroks' video, and he left a cursor on. I left a cursor up. But the first step is preheat the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Wash and peel the beets and carrots. Then slice them into rounds, 1/4 of an inch thick. Quarter the beet rounds to make the pieces slightly more manageable and uniform in size. Toss the cut beets and carrots with olive oil, salt, pepper, rosemary, and thyme in a large bowl. Then scatter around a rim baking sheet. Bake for 20 minutes or until fork tender. The last step for this recipe is mix the melted butter and honey together in a small bowl. Then pour over the roasted veggies or vegetables. Carefully toss the vegetables to coat evenly, then return to the oven for 5 more minutes. Our next recipe is baked potato bites. There was a recipe very similar to this in the Skyrim cookbook, but it has a nature's note or footnote to read before the recipe. It says, want to turn this potato poisonous but actually add more nutrients? Give your baked potato that signature green look by substituting finely cooked broccoli for the bacon. So this recipe does want you to use bacon, but you can use broccoli instead if you want to make it healthy or look like poisonous potatoes. Baked potatoes are a staple in Minecraft, of course, but this version makes a perfect mid-game treat in the real world. Twice baking the already petite red potato shrinks them down to a great handheld snack, and there's a normal difficulty. What you need is 12 red potatoes, or you can use a couple of big baking russet potatoes, which is what I used tonight when we had some steaks. You need some olive oil, some salt, some butter, cheddar cheese, sour cream, bacon bits, fresh chives that you mince, black pepper, extra cheese, chives, and mince for topping. If you want me to go back to any of these recipes and read the specific amount of each ingredient, I can. Like this one has 12 red potatoes, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, half a teaspoon of salt, and so on. The directions for the baked potato bites are preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Scrub the potatoes clean, then place in a large bowl with the olive oil and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix evenly until coated. Place the oiled potatoes on a baking sheet and roast for 25 to 30 minutes or until tender enough to be pierced easily with a knife. Remove from the oven and let cool for 15 minutes. Position the potatoes so that They're all sitting on their widest side. Then slice the top off of each potato. Using a small spoon or melon baller, scoop out the insides of each potato, leaving a wall of skin and a small amount of potato around the edges. Place the potato filling in a large bowl with the melted butter and mash down until smooth. Please be careful not to over mash or overwash the potatoes, or the potatoes will get a gluey texture. Okay, position the potato. Oh, I read that. Using a small spoon or melon baller, scoop out the insides of each potato, leaving a wall of skin and a small amount of potato around the edges. Place the potato filling in a large bowl with melted butter and mash until smooth. Add the cheddar cheese, sour cream, bacon bits, chives, pepper, and a quarter teaspoon of salt. Mix until the filling is well combined. Spoon the mixture into the hollow potatoes, overfilling slightly so the contents can be seen over the top of each potato. Sprinkle cheddar cheese over the tops. Place the potatoes back in the oven for an additional 5 minutes or until the tops are slightly browned and the cheese has melted. Sprinkle some additional fresh chives on the tops of the potatoes and serve. The next recipe is hoglins and lava, and then we have a couple more recipes for appetizers. Have you ever been so hungry you could eat a hoglin? Sure, you can push one of them into some lava to get cooked pork chops, but these real-life puff pastry sausage herds are more satisfying and a bit more shareable. Top them with poppy seeds for their hair and dip them in the buffalo sauce-inspired lava, and you'll never feel hungry in the nether again. And I just want to remind everybody, we're reading this Minecraft cookbook, but we're reading it while Jaroks is away for a little bit. Okay, this is an easy recipe, and you need 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1 frozen puff pastry sheet thawed, 24 mini cocktail sausages, 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of water, poppy seeds for topping. To make this lava dip, you need 1 cup of cayenne pepper hot sauce, half a cup of unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons of light vinegar, half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a quarter teaspoon of paprika, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of water. And then now to make the hoglins and lava. Preheat the oven to 425 degrees and cover with a baking sheet with parchment paper and set aside gently. Sprinkle flour over a flat surface and roll out the thawed puff pastry sheet to a 10 by 14 inch rectangle. I'm watching Jaroks' stream and I haven't seen a single phantom, creeper, or zombie. He must have it peaceful. No, Andrew, Jaroks doesn't have it on peaceful. He's playing on hardcore. It couldn't possibly be on peaceful. Using a sharp knife or pizza cutter, cut the pastry into 24 equally sized rectangles. Place 1 sausage at the base of each pastry rectangle, long side of the rectangle up, and roll up the sausage in the pastry. Pinch the seam closed. Whisk the egg and water together and brush the top of each puff pastry sausage. Sprinkle a small line of poppy seeds in the center of each top. Bake for 20 to 25 minutes or until the puff pastry is golden brown and flaky. Bake for 20 to 25 minutes or until... Oh, I already read that. While baking, make the lava dip. Combine the hot sauce, butter, vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, that's a complicated word to say, cayenne pepper, garlic powder and paprika in a saucepan over medium heat. Whisk continuously until the mixture starts to boil for about 3 minutes. Mix together the cornstarch and water in a small bowl and add the slurry into the saucepan. Reduce heat to medium-low, cover and let simmer for 5 minutes until sauce is thickened. Stir, remove from heat, and let cool for 5 minutes before serving. Once the hoglins have finished baking, place on a platter with a small bowl of the lava dip on the side. The next recipe is baked bread. There's also dragon's breath and smelted nuggets, and that'll be the end of the appetizer. So we got 3 more recipes to read. If you missed the old baked bread achievement, here's your chance to earn it in real life. Create this beautiful loaf of French bread inspired by the classic in-game bread image. Instead of the 3 wheats called for in-game, we're using 3 cups of all-purpose flour, which will yield a lighter, fluffier bread than other recipes. You need a cup of warm water, half a tablespoon of active dry yeast, 1½ teaspoons of sugar, 1½ teaspoons of salt, 3 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 egg white, 1 teaspoon of water. And the directions: combine the water, yeast, and sugar in the bowl of a stand mixer fitted with a dough hook. Let sit for 5 minutes or until it begins to foam. Add salt and 1 cup of flour and mix on low for 30 seconds. Add the additional flour, half a cup at a time, while continuing the mix on low. If you add too much flour at a time, turn the mixer on. It'll all blow out of the mixer and look like snow and make a big mess. That's why you only want to do a little bit at a time. But after you add the flour, move up to medium speed for 1 minute or until the dough is fully combined. The dough should be smooth. If it is sticky, add small amounts of additional flour. Place the dough in an oiled bowl and cover with a towel to rise for 1 hour or until it is doubled in size. Place the dough on a floured surface and punch it down. Using a rolling pin, form it into a rectangle about 15 by 8 inches. Roll the dough from the long side, making a 15-inch long cylinder. Turn the edges in and pinch all seams closed. Place loaf seams side down onto a parchment paper covered baking sheet. Whisk the egg white with a teaspoon of water and brush on top of the loaf. Cut 2 shallow horizontal slits across the top. Cover the loaf lightly with a towel and let rise for 30 minutes. While it rises, preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Bake the loaf for 20 to 25 minutes or until the top of the loaf is golden brown and the bread sounds hollow when you knock on it. Slice and enjoy warm. Top with some butter. We have 2 more recipes and appetizers. We have dragon's breath and smelted nuggets. Okay, dragon's breath. This is an easy recipe. Sure, the ender dragon's breath. No, don't lose it. Sure, the ender dragon's breath is so bad it's used as an attack and so potent that it makes a lingering potion. But have you considered that it just really loves to eat garlic and onions? This recipe is a less dangerous way to capture your very own dragon's breath in a glass jar. The result is a potion with effects that truly linger in a good way. In fact, it's a multi-use condiment that enhances salad, meats, veggies, and breads. For this one you need a 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar, a tablespoon of sugar, 3/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, it doesn't say which measurement, but it just says 1/4 red onion, sliced thin, 1/3 cup of extra virgin olive oil, juice, 1 small lemon, about 1/4 cup, 10 cloves of garlic, 1/4 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. The directions are: place the vinegar, sugar, and salt in a small saucepan over medium heat and stir while cooking until the sugar and salt dissolve for about 1 minute. We have one more recipe, Jaroks. Be patient. Remove the saucepan from heat and add the onion. Set aside to pickle for 1 hour. I don't know what that means. Place the olive oil, lemon juice, garlic cloves, red pepper, and black pepper in a 10-ounce mason jar. Then add the pickled onions and vinegar. Seal the jar and shake for 20 seconds or until emulsified. Refrigerate and shake quickly before using. A fighter's note. Ooh. Once you make your dragon's breath, you can use it in a variety of tasty ways. Try it as salad dressing, brushed on slices of bread before grilling. Marinade for meat, marinade for vegetables or potatoes. And the last recipe, and appetizers. And we're gonna stop after we read this, and I'll read more in another video. Oh, Jaroks is back. That's interesting. For smoked nuggets, actual gold is great, whether in
Yes,
the
I'm
game
back.
or in real life, but it compared to breaded melted cheese. Absolutely not. While your in-game furnace is busy smelting, fry up a batch of these tasty nuggets. You'll be convinced that they're worth their weight in, well, cheese. The ingredients are 18 ounces of vegetable oil, or enough oil for a cheese curd to be completely submerged in your pan, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper. Jaroks is laughing. He's holding back his laughter. You need half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 cup of buttermilk, 1 egg, just like in a how-to basic video, except don't throw them at random things, 1 pound of cheese
Throw 'em at
curds.
random things.
And there's not many directions for this, but you heat oil on high in a large saucepan or Dutch oven.
I never
We would
smelled
use
the
those
stone.
in camping.
No.
Oh no, anyway. Use in a Dutch oven until it reaches 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Adjust the stove's heat to medium and monitor
It's
the
all good,
temperature of the oil, keeping it consistently at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. We've got 5 more directions. You can do it. Bear with me. Mix together the flour, baking soda, salt, pepper, and garlic powder into a large bowl. Then add the buttermilk and egg. Whisk together until fully combined. Place the cheese curds in the batter mixture, fully coating the curds, and fish them out with a slotted spoon. Place 8 to 10 of these cheese curds in the hot oil at a time, being careful not to crowd. Fry for 1 minute, flipping over halfway through, then remove, placing on a paper towel lined plate to drain and cool. The last step is bring the oil back to 375 degrees and fry the next batch. Continue with the rest of the cheese curds. I'm going to stop reading recipes here, but when we come back, we'll read mushroom field steaks, noodle caves, plain kebabs, chicken jockey sandwich, warp forest flatbread pizza, buried treasure pie, delicious fish, suspicious stew, mushroom burger, husk tamales, redstone dust rub, smoker brisket, and farmland smorgastada. But we will come back and read those. But for now, I'm going to leave you alone to think about these recipes. And if you want individual pictures of the recipes, please let me know, and I can go back and read things again. But anyway, good night to you.